If you've watched my previous videos, you can understand that my houses are not the most realistic houses you've ever seen. And have I been judged for it? Yes. Yes, I have. It is time I put an end to this and make an actual good house. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And if you have not already joined the Discord server, what are you doing? The link will be in the description, but that is all I have for you, so I hope you enjoy the video. All right, so how this all started was I was in lunch and I was just scrolling on Pinterest and I saw this house. It was like a 3D rendering or 3D model. It wasn't like finished. I'll put the picture up on the screen, but I was like, oh my God, I need to build that. And I had study hall next, and the study hall room has literally no internet. So I emailed it to my school email because I was on my phone. I was on my like personal account. So I emailed it to myself and I looked at it like the whole entire study hall because I wanted to figure out how I was gonna build it because it's kind of complex, which I don't know why I'm doing this, but you know, whatever. I think my friends thought I was weird, but I don't really care. The picture itself is kind of a different style that I ended up with because it has no color in it. So when I added my color scheme to it, it kind of turned out more modern, I guess. And it was the way I decorated everything and the gardening and stuff. But when I first saw it and I first like considered building it in Bloxburg, I knew there's gonna be a lot of basic shapes, and that basically half the build is just basic shapes. And I know how to use basic shapes, but it doesn't show that I do because all of my builds are like Barbie houses and they're not really detailed enough to have basic shapes in them. But this video was gonna be different. I was gonna make a really good house and be actually proud of it and keep it for once. And it's already worth, like, I finished the outside, it's already worth like $700,000. And I had to go to work. Like, what the heck? So what you're seeing me do right now is a railing, which this one took me a very, very long time to do. I wasn't going to use any of the railings in the game because they weren't detailed enough, and the design I was kind of going for, it had, I don't know, ovals in the middle of it. I used one of the fences in the game for reference of the height, but I wasn't going to actually use it. The design of the actual railing has a lot of curves in it, and it's basically like an oval kind of like smushed next to another one, and it's the same thing over and over again, and I probably should have found a different way to do this because I spent so much time on it, but there's probably a copy and pastable way to do it, but obviously I didn't find that way. But basically I just made one railing and copy and pasted it all the way down. Should I have painted it at first? Yes. Did I realize that at the time? No, because there's so many little pieces in it when I was making the curves. It's so bad. But I finished the railing, and this was the first bigger part of the house that was basic shapes, and I was like, dang, this actually might turn out as a good house. I mean, obviously it was way too early for me to tell, but looking at it, it was like, okay, this is kind of good. This was the finished product of all the railings put together, and at this point I was so happy with it. Now it's time to do the entryway, and this one was kind of hard because the wall was actually farther back from the actual entryway, meaning like one part just stuck out a little bit further, but it wasn't as far as another stud would go. Stud, oh my God, like one of the boxes, the grid thingies. So I had to make it out of basic shapes, and you know, that's just so much more fun. Woohoo. It really wasn't that bad. The only hard part about this was trying to do the little balcony because there was a lot of detail that went into it, and I did end up finding another brick decal to use, and I used it once before, but I really do like this decal. There was no good texture in the game, and some of the textures are just like, they're not what I'm looking for, so I don't really want to use them. So that's when I resort to decals, and if Capto doesn't like that, I don't want to hear it. Anyways, I had to use more basic shapes because the wall is kind of indented a little bit, and basically you just have to look at the picture for this one to make sense. I can't really explain it to you because my words are just not wording today. You would never guess that I'm in honors English, and I'm good at that class too, but it stinks. It's so boring. We had to read this book called Animal Farm, and it's basically about the Russian Revolution, and I know you guys don't care, but it was like pigs, and it was cows, and it was horse. Like, I don't even know what it was doing. It was such a bad book. And now we're reading Lord of the Flies, which it's even worse. I would say that's my least favorite class next to chemistry. I don't want to say chemistry is hard because I don't really struggle in it. It's just not my cup of tea. Like, I just don't enjoy it. And I have a midterm coming up, and I'm recording this on a Monday and I have it Friday, but it's good because I had a 4-day weekend because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we also have Regents Week because in my state we have to take Regents, which is basically like a final exam, but it's held by the state. Most of my grade don't even take them in the winter. We always take ours in June, so I got an extra day off, but we don't have a Regents Week this year like we normally do, which sucks. So I have to go in Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and I have my test on Friday, and I feel prepared enough. I should do some more studying and not making Bloxburg videos, but I'll have time. We're fine. Put school first, guys. Okay, so it's more than a week later, and I said my midterm was on Friday, but we ended up having a snow day on Friday, so I had it on a Monday, which, what the heck? I think I did pretty good on it. I thought I would do a little bit better, but it's still really, really good. I was going through all the questions like, dang, this is kind of easy, and I flew through the test, but then the end part I kind of got a little confused on. I only got 5 questions wrong on the multiple choice out of like 50, so I'll take that. So the midterm went fine, but apparently we have a quiz next class, and I just took the midterm yesterday. Today's a Wednesday, and I get today off because of Lunar New Year, so I just have a free day off. But we have a heat quiz tomorrow. Now this is where it got hard for me to do the balcony because I had to do a lot of little basic shapes to make them look like bricks. And again, there's probably another better way for me to do this, but obviously I didn't. Obviously this balcony is not usable because it's so small, and it's with a window too, so there's no no function in it. It's just decorative, and it's definitely not perfect either, but I do like the end result and the way I painted it. I'm definitely learning a lot from this build because I wouldn't think to do a balcony on a window because I guess it doesn't really make any sense, but it does look good, so I might do it again. Some of the harder parts about this house was doing the elevation because it wasn't straight on the floor, so I had to use basements to bring it down a little bit, and you'll start to see that on the side of the house when I get to it. The left side yard did not turn out the way I wanted it to. I mean, it's not bad, but I think the house itself didn't really look good, and I think I could have done better. You'll see that at some point, but right now I'm just working on the front. Basically, where the driveway is, it's kind of shorter than the actual front of the house. Later, I'll add in staircases, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It's really funny because I understand what I'm doing in my head, but if someone were like in my server kind of looking at what I'm doing, they're gonna be like, what the heck is this? Because it only really makes sense in my head until the finished project comes out. It's kind of one of those trust the process things. So it might look really weird to you, but to me it made sense. I had to make the driveway short enough that I could put a window in between the driveway and the actual first floor wall. For me, it would just add character, and right now I'm building, I don't even know what these are called. They're definitely not for any structure purposes, they're just for aesthetics, and what are those? I've never built something like this. I've never seen something like this, and I think I like how they turned out. I mean, I don't know if I would do it again. They were kind of easy to make. It was just a lot of basic shapes and structurals. Definitely something I've never thought of doing, but I like how it turned out, so I guess it's okay. I just came to the realization that it's the 29th right now, and the last time I posted was on the 5th, so it's been 24 days since I last posted on YouTube, and I think you guys are kind of wondering like what the heck happened to her. And I would give the excuse that this was a hard house to build, but it really wasn't, and it didn't take as long as I think you thought it did. So I've had a lot of extra free time. Yes, I've been studying for exams and everything. The main thing that's really stopping me from making videos right now is just my stress with the whole YouTube thing, because I feel like if I don't post, I'm not doing okay, but when I try and post, I get even more stressed. So I took a full week off of YouTube just to kind of like forget about it, and now I'm back. As I said, right now it's Wednesday, so I'll most likely post Friday or Saturday this week. So when is that gonna be? That's gonna be the 31st or the 1st of February. I don't know, YouTube is just kind of hard sometimes because I want it to be good content for you guys, but it's also stressful for me to get it all done by a time limit, so I don't think I can make weekly uploads. It just doesn't make sense for me, especially with my schedule. Even with softball coming up, that's gonna get worse. I will most likely spend more time on better videos and better builds, just so it's easier for you and better for me. But I took a mini break from YouTube, so that's why I have not posted for 24 days. I'm not dead or anything, I promise. I got hooked on Capri Suns too, they're good. For this build, I wanted custom windows, and I wanted them to be good because I've made custom windows in the past. I've never really spent a lot of time on them, and I wanted to change that with this build, so I just used a lot of basic shapes and structurals to do this. They did not end up perfect because one of the things is slanted, and I copy and pasted that everywhere, so all the windows are kind of messed up now, but mostly they look really good. I'm happy to spend so much time on them. What is my cat doing? He's behind my monitors right now. Don't eat the dust. Anyways, I did 3 types of window designs. I did this design, an oval design, and a square design. I know for the squares I made them half open, and I did not film me doing this, but I also put the light boxes behind them, so in the pictures it actually looks like there's someone living in there, because I'm yet to do the interior, and if you like this video I will do the interior, but right now it's not done. Right now it's kind of hard to see the texture and the depth in the video. At this point I did not paint anything, so they're all just the natural colors, or at least just gray, so it's kind of hard to see all the detail, but once I get to coloring you're gonna kind of see how it comes together. I don't think I've ever spent this much time on a build, at least just the exterior, and I only used 2 decals, which was the railing and the brick, which for me that's good. I didn't even use any decal plants. That's crazy. Anyways, back to the windows. I don't know how to explain this. I don't really know what you would call it. On top of the window, there's like a triangle looking thing. It's kind of just, I don't know. You can look in the video. I don't know how to explain it, but those go on all of the windows except for the oval ones. I've also never done this in Bloxburg. I think I have seen it in real life, so it's nice to try it. There's just so many little things that I found out when I was building this that are like so detailed, and I never really thought about it. So I definitely learned a lot from this build. Once I was done with the actual construction of the windows, I just copy and pasted them all over the place. The picture that I showed you in the beginning of the video, it was on a website, so I can look at other angles of the house. It did not give me a floor plan, which I don't like, so I'm gonna have to figure that out, and that is not going to be fun for me. But they did give me all the other angles for the exterior, so I know where everything is supposed to be placed. It did not turn out exactly how it did in the picture because scale is kind of weird coming from real life to Bloxburg. Some things just don't add up, but they are mostly the same. All of this is in reference to those pictures. Moving on to the roofs, they were by far the most difficult thing to do for this house. The one you're seeing right now was not that bad, but the other one was horrendous. I don't think I even kept it. I think I cut that part out. The weirdest part is last night I had a dream about we could transform roofs, and they weren't like the custom shaped roofs, they were the actual structural roofs, and you could transform them. I don't really know what that was about. It might be my obsession with having hollow gable roofs, because It's been years. Where have they been? I mean, basically every good builder uses them. So, I mean, you have hollow mastered roofs. Where are the hollow gable roofs? That is my one and only complaint about this game, but everything else is fine. And it was weird because I had that dream and then I woke up and then it was the Valentine's Day update. I was like, okay, they updated. Of course, there's no roof in there, but everything else in the update was really, really cute, and I really do like it, so I'm not gonna complain. So this is the time where I moved on to the side yard, and there's a picture that I saw, and I thought it had some sort of railing going down, but after I built this, I looked at the picture again, and it didn't, but I like it more that I have it now than if I didn't. Basically, it's kind of just a staircase going down to another door to the garage. Is it kind of pointless? Yes, but if you're going to the garage and you want to go upstairs, you don't have to go like up the side yard, so I guess it makes a little bit of sense. I like it now that it's there. I also want your guys' opinion on something. What did you guys think of the song of the year? I don't even know what awards it, like, it wasn't the Grammys. I don't even know what like the name of the event is. Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us got #1 song, and I totally agree with it. People were like, oh, like Billie Eilish didn't get any awards, like Taylor Swift should have gotten it, and I was like, no, their music is not my kind of music. Yes, I think neither is Kendrick Lamar's, but that was such a good song. I personally love that song, and it's not like me to like that kind of music, but I'm really happy that song won, but my friends are not, and they're like yelling at me. I was like, they just don't know what good music is. We listen to like the most depressing Billie Eilish crying songs. They're so sad. My playlists are literally just like pump up music. There's a couple sad songs on there, but mainly they're happier songs.
Personally, I prefer speed metal.
I can't do sad songs because I get sad, and that's my relationship with Coldplay right now because I love Coldplay, but I also hate it. Like the song Yellow or The Scientist, they make me cry. I feel so bad, but they're also such good songs, so I can sprinkle in a couple sad songs on that playlist because then right after there's gonna be a happy one, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But let me know what you think about the award ceremony. I want to know your guys' opinion. I want to know your music taste too. On the left side of the garage, there's a stone wall that I had to make completely custom, and I think I figured out halfway through that I could just place a basic shape and delete it without the thing on top going away, because whenever you place a garden thing on a basic shape, it does not matter. They will not delete as the same thing. They are now two separate things, which it doesn't really make any sense because that's like the only thing that does it that way in the game. But this time it worked in my favor, so I don't really care. Later, I realized maybe I should have done another layer of rocks going up. This is definitely the first time I've tried this, and I just got it from the inspiration picture. I want to say that's one of my favorite things about the side yard because everything else I just wasn't a fan of. I think the yard itself was okay, but then the house, it didn't really turn out that well. I think it was just because it was so flat. There was no elevation on that side. It's not terrible, but there is one part of the roof that just, oh my god, it is so bad. I also had a hard time figuring out what car I wanted to put there because I could either do the Beetle or I could do whatever thing they had for Halloween this year or last year. It was like, I think it was some sort of medieval car. Those two words don't make sense together, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about.
You just got passed by a car from the 90s. The 1890s.
It might be a Model T, actually. I don't know. I chose a Beetle because it's a little bit more modern than the other one, but you can't see it. It's in the garage anyway, so I guess it didn't matter. This part was my favorite part of the whole build. I basically made a compass in the driveway, and basically where this came from was I was on Zillow, and I look at houses literally all across the country because I don't know. I just love looking at Zillow houses. It's a weird addiction. Don't call me crazy until you try it. Anyways, I looked at one house and had a compass like engraved in the driveway. I was like, that's actually so cool. Obviously, it's not accurate because the plot changes each time, so when the sun sets and rises, it's kind of different each time, but I will put up a picture of the house that I found in the driveway because it is so cute. I saw like, dang, that's a really good idea. So this is the first house I'm doing it on. Maybe I'll do it on another one. I don't know yet. Depends on what kind of house I do. I've just never seen anyone do this in Bloxburg before and thought it would be a good idea. Obviously, to make it, I did one of the cylinders and kind of scaled it all the way down. And then for the outside of the compass, I kind of took a basic shape and made a quarter of the circle, and I just copy and pasted that so they all matched up. But if you're gonna build this, make sure everything is level because I didn't do that and it kind of turned out bad and I had to change it later. It's just a lot more work to do it that way. The arrows were the same way. I just did 4 of the same kind of triangles, and then for the other 4, I think I just scaled them down a little bit because they weren't the same size. Maybe they were. Crap. I don't even know what I did. And if you're gonna do this, make sure you look at it very carefully because I kept looking and I was like, that's not straight. Definitely check your work because you don't want something to be lopsided and it did not look symmetrical. It was kind of a big part of the house and it was a focal point of the driveway, so I wanted it to look good. And when I was building this, I found a color that I liked. It was like a blue, and I wanted to put it somewhere else in the house because it looked good with all the other walls and stone. So I ended up putting it on shutters, I believe. And that's where it kind of started to get more modern because I started to add a little bit more color. It wasn't just so plain. Anyways, I love the compass. I think it's just like something unique and something I haven't done before. So let me know what you think about it. So this is me trying to do the roof, and this is a very long clip of me trying to do this, and it's really funny to watch. I'm not gonna make you watch all of it. You can just see the confusion in my building because I have no idea what I'm doing because like there's no good way to do this roof. I had a very hard time time with this roof, and the texture that I wanted to use didn't really work out because it was straight lines and this roof always slants those lines. So I had to use different textures, but one's shiny and one's not. It was a whole mess, but you can't really tell at the end. I mean, it's noticeable if you really look for it, but overall it's not that bad. I just had to use a lot of basic shapes to fix everything. But the roof was definitely the hardest part for me, which is weird because it's like one of the only things that you can build from the game, like walls and floors, but I had such a hard time doing it because nothing looked right and I wanted it closest that I can get to the picture, but I also didn't want to do a complete custom roof because I would literally spontaneously combust. Sometimes just watching me build is the funniest thing in the world, and it did happen once in this video. I was trying to put one of those triangle headers on top of a window, and I think it was on the left side of the house. You might be able to see it in the video, but it's so funny because I'm literally like trying to transform it and it's just giving me red lines, and I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. It's not doing anything. It's just so entertaining to watch this stuff. This was just me placing lots of trees and bushes and everything kind of gardening related, just to fix up some spots that were ugly, especially on the side yard, and some of those spots were really ugly. But you want to know what else is ugly? My freaking ceramics piece. So to give you a little bit of backstory, we have a project right now in ceramics that's called potluck silverware. It's basically something where you have to create some type of serving dish that can feed at least 8 people. Some people do like casserole dishes or cake stands, that kind of thing. So I decided I wanted to do a charcuterie board, and let me tell you, when I made this thing, oh, it was beautiful. I spent so much time on this too. Like, it's actually so good. This is like the first piece that I'm like, dang, this is kind of hot. I get mine done a class before it's really due, and that's because I had to have a lot of time for mine to dry, because when you have ceramics, you can't put wet clay into the kiln or else it'll explode. So you have to have a lot of time for it to dry, and since mine was such a big and thick piece, I needed to get it on the shelf so it'd have extra time to dry. I got it done early, and the next class that people were still working, I was just glazing a different piece, and I go to check on it, and there's this giant crack in the middle of it. I'm like, excuse me? Like, it is like the one spot where I like, did not expect a crack to be. I was so upset, and I asked the teacher, like, hey, why is there a giant crack? She's like, yeah, so it's something to do with the drying. Like, the outside was drying at a faster rate than the inside. That caused a crack, and I was furious. I am mad. So I have to wait for it to get fired to see how deep the crack gets, because if it gets too deep, then it is not fixable, and that sucks. But if it's not that deep, I can put some sort of clay putty in it, and that might be able to patch it up, which is good, because I need to put a layer of glaze on it, because that's what makes it food safe, that I can actually eat off of my charcuterie board, which is kind of important when you're eating food. It's a serveware. I was very upset when I saw the crack. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? No one wants you here. But we'll see how it turns out. I still like it, but we'll see how it turns out. Worst comes to worst, every time that you use it, you have to put like parchment paper down or something. Who knows? But I am still mad. Finally, we're on to the last part of the house, which is just doing the entryway. There wasn't much structural. It was just me decorating it. I don't know if I filmed it or not, but I did end up decorating the patio in the back. Everything on the exterior of the house should be good now. There's probably a couple spots that I don't like. Obviously, I didn't finish the roof at some point, but you know, it's fine. The base of everything I need for the house is done, and I'm not an exterior person. I really don't like to do the exteriors. Well, I do, but there's just so much basic shapes and custom things, and it just gets annoying and it takes forever. So I like to do interior stuff, so doing the entryway was just like a good way to go out. I was like, it was a breath of fresh air. It was easy for me to do. It was quick. I was just, at this point, I was done. I had spent so much time on this house, and I was ready to be, just put it down. We're done with this. And I think at some point when I was building this, I joined Capto's neighborhood, and he looked over. He's like, dang, that looks kind of good. I was like, excuse me? He never says that stuff. So I'm like, are you okay? I mean, I think it's a fine looking house. He just never really says anything like that to me. So I was somewhat concerned, but I agree, it is very good, especially for my standards. Anyways, I might end up changing what the entryway looks like based on what I decorate the inside like. I might change my style, I might not, but I want it to somewhat match the outside. But if you want the interior, let me know, because I definitely will do that. Finally, the house is complete, and this took me way too long to do, and it wasn't the house, it was just making the video. This house is definitely not anything I would normally do, because look at it. I don't think I use plastic for anything but the windows and the wall trim. I think everything else has texture to it, which is insane for me. I mean, the side yard over here is, I didn't care to fix that either. We're not even gonna look at the backyard. I'm very happy with this, and if you guys like it, I'll do the interior, because I mean, it's a decent sized house too, so that could be either one video or 2 videos, because there's gonna be a lot of detail in there, but I also don't know with plot data. Right now I'm at 42.5%, so I think I could do the interior just fine. So if you want that, let me know, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, subscribe, it's that easy, and I will see you either next week or next month. That's usually how it goes, so bye!